Here we go again, guys. Another Supergirl trailer, and with every new look we get, Supergirl seems dirtier, more depressed, and more disheveled. Something feels off about this movie, and we're gonna talk about it, okay? But we're also gonna break down the new shots of Superman, Lobo, who looks absolutely badass in his debut, and the possible death of Krypto. There's a lot of lore I want to go over with you, but at the same time, I've got some hard truths I need to get off my chest. So let's jump right in. Superman is here. Let's start right at the top. Superman showed up. He's probably able to call Kara using Kryptonian tech from the Fortress of Solitude. He's worried that Supergirl might have a hard time adapting to Earth considering she spent so much time away, living in space rather than down here. This happens in the comics too. Why? Because unlike Kal-El, who grew up on Earth from the time he was a baby, Kara didn't. She lived on Krypton. She witnessed its destruction and she lost everything piece by piece. Plus, she has her own ship, which means she spends a massive amount of time just traveling through the cosmos. And that leads to some pretty funny situations, like her using X-ray vision and not understanding why Cat Grant from the Daily Planet has weird plastic bags inside her chest. I mean, we're probably gonna see moments like that, right? Back on Krypton, they were probably all natural. Now, some people didn't like Superman showing up in the trailer. They called it forced or a desperate marketing tactic. But I'm in the camp that thinks it's completely natural for Superman to appear in a Supergirl movie. This was totally expected and even backed up by past rumors. So let's chill out, guys. We don't need to complain about every single thing. Let's look at the whole context first. Man, we spent years in the old DCEU with Superman hiding in the shadows or getting headless cameos, only for him to finally show his face in Black Adam. But things are different now. The greatest superhero is here, and in my opinion, he needs to have a major presence and be the face of the DCU alongside Batman and Wonder Woman, Argo City, and the Kryptonian lore. Alright, the trailer shows the destruction of Krypton and a shield forming around Argo City, which is where Kara grew up. In the comics, this city survives Krypton's destruction thanks to a dome and vital supply bases built by Kara's father, Zor-El, who actually appears in the trailer. But those life supplies weren't going to last forever. Zor-El knew the Kryptonian radiation in the soil would eventually poison the air. Because of that, there comes a point where he has to send Kara to Earth. In the trailer, however, it looks like Kara is sent away on the exact same day Krypton goes down. So maybe they're using Argo City as a way to introduce new Kryptonians to the DCU later on. Suddenly, in the DCU, Argo City survives, and they could all get powers under a yellow sun. Kara reuniting with her parents, General Zod being there. There are so many arcs they could adapt using Argo City as a hook. Or, if they follow the comics closely, almost no one survives and the city just becomes a Kryptonian graveyard floating in space. It could be that in the movie, Kara is actually searching for Argo City, which is why she spends so much time drifting through space. A gritty, depressed Supergirl. Now that I've given you the lore context, I think it's easier to understand that she carries a history of trauma and loss that is way heavier than Superman's. But that doesn't change the fact that personality-wise, she's generally a happy, upbeat, and well-put-together character. In the trailer though, Supergirl constantly looks like she just threw up. She's disheveled, covered in dirt, there are beer bottles everywhere, and she looks drunk and hungover. The Woman of Tomorrow comic kicks off Supergirl celebrating her 21st birthday, coming of age, and that's why she was drinking. It was pretty much her first time getting drunk. It happened on one specific night. It was an exception to the rule, a brief event that lasted about 4 pages. But the DCU is seemingly turning this into her core personality and default cinematic look. Do you see what James Gunn and the DCU are doing here? They took the concept of her at the bar celebrating her birthday from the comics and transferred it to the movie, adding a much heavier emotional layer. At the end of the Superman movie, even though she was in her suit and looking clean, she was still wearing a trench coat and acting drunk. This movie is definitely going to explore the emotional toll of the trauma she carries. I just really hope this whole drunken, messy detail gets resolved within this movie so we can finally get the Kara we know from the comics. And honestly, I do think that's exactly what will happen. The villains and visual identity. To be completely honest, this movie is starting to feel a bit like a copy-paste of the first Guardians of the Galaxy. You get a very similar vibe. The villains in the film look identical to the Ravagers from Guardians, that whole generic space scavenger aesthetic. But in the comics, Krem lives on a medieval planet. He's a character dealing with magic and a bow and arrow. The trailer even shows the exact sequence from the comics where Krypto takes an arrow, and Krem steals Kara's ship, which is why she has to take the space bus afterwards. In the movie, they're adapting this to give Krypto a bigger role. Krypto takes a poison arrow, and Kara has to hunt Krem down to find the cure and save him. But the worst part of all this for me is how the visual style became this generic, dirty mess. The Woman of Tomorrow comic features absolutely sublime art by the Brazilian artist Bilquis Evely. She brings this incredible medieval design early on, and later the villains have this cosmic pirate vibe with actual flying pirate ships. There is so much beautiful, unique stuff in there. Just look at these pieces of art. Look at how much visual identity this story has. Compare the two. Look at the generic dirtiness of the trailer versus how stunning and original the designs and settings are in the comic. It's the same story. Look, I'm not saying the movie needs to be 100% one-to-one adaptation. I like changes, especially when they elevate the material. Changes should make things just as good as the original or even better. Woman of Tomorrow has incredible, vibrant colors. It's a masterpiece. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're getting that same vibe in the movie. In a few shots, you can see they tried to bring some of those colorful aspects into the backgrounds, but it doesn't even compare, right? Is this really what we're getting? Not to mention the villain's design, which I've been complaining about since the first teaser. The actor playing Krem actually looks like the character in the comics, yet production decided to change his look to make him seem more alien and menacing. Honestly, it just looks really generic. Anyway, you can tell the movie's gonna focus heavily on Ruthie and her quest for revenge against Krem, while Kara is searching for a cure to save Krypto, which brings them together on this journey. Still, I have a feeling the villain might end up being one of the weakest points of the film. Even the test screenings pointed that out. Let's just hope the movie compensates for that with great chemistry between Kara and Ruthie. Lobo, the main man. Alright, now let's talk about the best part of the trailer. We got some much better shots of Lobo, and man, I gotta tell you, I am hyped to see him in action. He looks freaking amazing. I think the previous trailers just didn't catch him from a good angle, but in this one, he looks like an absolute badass. The visual design really sold me this time. Top tier stuff. I actually criticized his look in a previous video here on the channel when he was revealed in those dark scenes, but seeing him clearly now, it is so good. He's got the chains wrapped around his wrists, and you can just feel Jason Momoa's excitement playing Lobo. It is insane. There's a new shot of him flashing a genuine smile in character. The guy is living his best life now that he finally landed the role of the main man. Even the space bike in this trailer, I absolutely loved it. It looks incredible. And one of my critiques in the last video was about his eyes. In the previous preview, it looked like he just had Momoa's normal eyes. However, looking at the officially licensed toys for the movie, Lobo has his classic red eyes, so it's highly likely he'll have them on screen too. Speaking of collectibles, I've put the links for the official Supergirl movie figure and some really awesome Lobo Funko Pops right in the description and pinned comment. Look, full transparency here, as an Amazon associate, I earn a small commission if you use them. It costs you nothing extra, but it's the best way to keep Comic Chronicles independent. If you're even thinking about getting them, add them to your cart now to lock in the stock before the movie hype sells them out. And hey, if the figures aren't your thing or are too pricey, grab the Woman of Tomorrow graphic novel instead. It's the cheapest way to support us, and the art is a literal masterpiece you need on your shelf. Now, let's talk about the Lobo. Seriously, Lobo is the one who should be dirty and drunk. That makes sense. If you're gonna make a character filthy, it's gotta be him. I honestly don't think they can mess Lobo up. Frankly, I think for a lot of people, Lobo is the only thing that's truly gonna hype them up to see Supergirl in theaters. Overall, I like this trailer. It's a huge step up from the teaser we got late last year. But I really want to hear from you guys who made it this far into the video. What did you love and what did you hate about this trailer? Are you hyped for this movie? What's drawing you in and what's making you hesitant? I'm diving into the comments right now. Your feedback is our best thermometer, and you guys set the temperature here. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell right now. Make sure notifications are on because we're covering everything happening in the superhero universe in theaters and in the comics. And if you want to know every detail about the comic book that inspired this movie, I'm leaving a video right here on the screen breaking down the complete story. Watch it right after this one to see just how incredible the original masterpiece is. It's a hell of an experience. Until next time, I'm out.